I had plenty of time to think about it, but it's always tough, when it comes to the final decision. But the key thing here is that it's the right decision, and sometimes you need some time to come to that. But there's no doubt in my mind that this is the absolute best decision for the Adelaide Football Club. Because of the pressure that mounts through our performances. So we take responsibility for why. I take responsibility for why the pressure's there. Absolutely. And if I could quarantine the pressure to myself, it'd be okay. But I can't do that, of course, and because it starts to affect everyone in the football club. Whether it be the management, whether it be the staff, in the commercial areas, and support staff, but probably more importantly the players as well. So I couldn't quarantine it to myself, otherwise it would have been okay. And so in the end you need to make a call about what's best for our club, and I've said that from day one when I first started coaching, that I don't have a job for life here, and if at any stage I thought I was not the best person for the job, that I would say that, and hopefully I'm true to my word.
You've always said that you've got close friends around you that you can talk to away from the football field.
A lot of those people that you talk about, you probably don't know who they are, and there's no need for people to know who they are, have been with me since day one, since I sort of started coaching as a senior coach here. And so you obviously confide in those, and you try and get a balanced point of view, where it's all heading. And that's why those people are so important to you, because they can give you a balanced point of view, without the emotion of necessarily being directly involved. And some of those guys are directly involved in our football club. But so yeah, I certainly access them in terms of making the decision. But you see, those people don't tell you what to do. That's why they're so good. What they do is they question. They ask you questions about a whole range of issues. And great mentors never tell you what to do. They just ask you the question, and you eventually get to the right answer.
Your father not going to that hasten the decision?
No, well, to a certain extent, actually, it did, because it was a really poor performance by our football club on a national stage, and it certainly wasn't just one game, and I think, well, hopefully all people in the room would understand that we're a better club than just making decisions on one game. That's just not the way we operate. But it certainly had a factor in it, mainly because I don't want the players to take the arena and perform like that. And if that's part of the pressure that builds, and there's no doubt that whilst the players have been totally supportive of themselves, they live in a world where they understand that there's continuing questioning of the coach about who's going to coach, and that's, after a period of time, that's not conducive to producing the best results. So it was just one small aspect of it, but it was, and there were a lot of other things that came into it as well.
What basically went wrong? In your opinion, what went wrong?
In what way?
Well, obviously you've had Adelaide didn't perform this year.
Yeah.
Then you've stepped out.
Yeah. Well, it's really interesting when you talk about performing, actually. I mean, I guess you're judging us from previous years and, of a pretty high standard in general terms. Now, I think that's a compliment to our club and to our playing group over here that, we get judged at a really high level. I mean, there's clubs at the moment, losing by 60, 70 points as well, but that's not what we're on about as a club. To give you a direct answer about what went wrong, there's never one direct answer, and it probably doesn't matter. It's the thing here is that because of the lack of performance relative to our football club, there's the pressure builds, and it's now time to try and relieve that pressure so our guys over here can actually perform under what I call a clean slate to a certain extent. And that's why it's important.
Well, you sung the praises of the young players here. You're confident you're leaving the list in good shape?
Yeah, the list. These guys over here, Andrew, they're going to be really good, and I don't question that at all. And and I have great confidence in the board of the Adelaide Football Club that whoever they appoint, whether it be Mark or whether it's another coach, that person could be a female. You never know, do you? Could be the first up. But let's assume it's a male. Sorry, Trigger, back into a corner there. Will be a really good person, and the playing group they'll enjoy Mark, and they'll enjoy a change, and they'll enjoy whoever ends up being the senior coach of the Adelaide Footy Club, and whoever that person is will enjoy them.
Did you get a say in endorsing Mark as the...
Sorry?
Did you get a say in endorsing Mark as the next...
That's not my responsibility,
Yeah.
and I've made that very clear to Stephen and both Rob. There's enough people out there that can have an opinion on who should coach this club, and that's their role, but it's certainly not my role to voice an opinion about who should coach this club. As Stephen said, Michelangelo, the decision really wasn't made until sort of, I think, late Saturday, Tricky. So, straight after the game, that was my thoughts. And but once the dust settles and you get time to think things through and discuss it with a range of people, it's hard to say, to tell you exactly why it occurs, but you just know. Everyone says that, you just know, and I just knew it was time.
Is there a certain sense of relief now that you've made that decision there?
Not for me, because I love doing the job, and so hopefully there'll be a relief on the football club. That I'm sure people are sick of hearing about Neil Craig. In the football community, I think they actually want to start reading about the performance of the Adelaide Football Club, which is, I'm sure these guys too. So, not relief for me, Pete, because I've loved doing the job.
You would have had inner belief, though, that you could have done something with this group over the next few years.
Yeah, but that's called personal indulgence, Andrew. Okay, that's not what I'm talking about here. And because it's bigger than that, you've got to understand what creates performance.
You clearly got that belief, though.
You've got to understand what creates performance. The environment that creates performance.
Neil, Neil, did you take
John.
a sounding from the players before you reached your decision?
I take sounding from these guys just about every day. I'm getting sick of taking sounding from them. So, yeah, look, I get some good feedback from them, John, and there's no doubt in my mind with the information I got from the playing group is that to use a football term, that I hadn't lost the playing group. Now, and I believe that because I have great faith, particularly in our playing group and the senior leadership group, that they would tell me that if that was the case. But and that's just between myself and the players. But as I said to Andrew, it's bigger than that. It's we live in this world where there's constant scrutiny and about myself, about is he going to coach and who should coach, and it's been quite an experience actually, where you pull the information from, whose opinions you seek in the end. But these guys have got to live with it. And as I said, the point I was making to Andrew, that is not an environment which is conducive to high performance. And so,
Would it be fair to say that in the end it came down to a marketing decision?
I'd be really disappointed if it came down to marketing. This is not about marketing, John. One thing I know about life is that you come along and you're actually a very small speck in the big scheme of things. So I'd like to remember it as maybe a brick in the wall of the Adelaide Footy Club, that maybe in his time had a positive influence, and hopefully the brick doesn't get salt down.
So you've had your first step, why not carry it through?
Because it's not the right decision to do that.
But why not the right decision? John Worsfold's done it, Mick Moldhouse has done it, he couldn't have gone
Yeah,
through that side.
well, I think in terms of John and Mick, there's I certainly don't put myself in that bracket. And those two guys in particular, Michelangelo, are both premiership coaches. And I think the reality here is that the scrutiny is not going to go away. No matter what happens, we could win the next 4 in a row and lose the next 2, and the scrutiny comes back. So that's why it's the right decision.
Neil, do you leave with any regrets?
None whatsoever. No.
What will you miss the most, Neil?
These guys?
You feel
What was that
let
process?
down by anyone?
Let down? No, I don't know. What I do know is that whoever comes into to the chair couldn't wish for a better board. You've got to understand, actually, how strong these guys stood by me.
Yeah, not just the board, but everyone inside and outside the club. Do you feel comfortable?
Yeah, no, it's been a sensational club. It's been fantastic to me.
Yeah, was this the toughest decision of your life yet? In terms
No. This is not life threatening, guys. This is a game. Now, please understand. I understand it's more than a game because of the effect it can have on people's emotions and the football community. You know, it's a very influential club, and that's why we work hard to try and do the best we can in terms of what we give back to the football community and the way we can influence people. So, that's.
how much you love the club? It seems like you didn't want to leave. It almost sensed from what you were talking about before.
Once again, purely from a personal indulgent point of view, Tom. No, I don't want to leave. But let's be very clear about this. It's that when I spoke to both Stephen and Rob on the weekend, I knew that if I'd said to them that to go back to Michelangelo's question, that let's follow this through right to the end, till the end of the year at least, is that they would have done that. There's no doubt in my mind they would have done that. I mean, there was concern from Friday's performance because it was a really poor performance, but they would have done that. But as I said, I don't know. Don't ask me how I knew, but I just knew.
Your concerns about scrutiny, was Paul Roos right in the end that you just brought this pressure upon yourself by setting that bar far too high?
Well, I can't speak for Paul, but that's just the way I operate, Michelangelo. So that's the way it is, and that's the way it would be if I had it again. Sorry?
What sort of coach does this club need?
No, Tom, it's not. I'm not getting into that. I mean, what I do know is that whoever the board appoints will be. These guys will love playing under him, and they'll have a lot of fun.